Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are diving into a stack of research that's, well, it's really critical for understanding the future of health.
We're looking at the new 2026 Clinical Nutritional Guidelines.
And this isn't just, a slight tweak to the old food pyramid. This is a complete overhaul in how nutrition is being approached for managing our biggest chronic diseases.
Things like hypertension, diabetes, and coronary artery disease.
Exactly. The sources are framing this as the closest thing we've ever had to a precision guidance system for eating.
That's the perfect analogy. It's like a high-precision GPS. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by conflicting diet advice, these guidelines are designed to cut right through that noise.
Giving clinicians, and more importantly, giving you these evidence-based waypoints to follow for specific health issues.
Right.
And that's really our mission today, to decode that GPS. We're not here for vague advice. We want the coordinates.
Numbers, the exact targets.
Yeah, and the surprising food shifts that the sources are highlighting. We're looking for those aha moments that turn, general knowledge into a real actionable strategy.
And that's the whole point. This shift is driven by the formal adoption of the food as medicine framework at a federal level.
Okay.
It demands that nutrition delivers measurable clinical outcomes. So knowledge is only valuable if we understand the why and, how to apply it day to day.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's start with the most common route on this map. Hypertension, or HTN, blood pressure management.
The main pathway here is still the globally recognized DIS diet.
The dietary approaches to stop hypertension diet.
Right. And it's the clinical foundation for a reason. It's built on a two-pronged strategy, aggressive restriction of one key mineral and the aggressive addition of several others.
So it's a very active therapeutic diet.
Extremely.
We know the restriction target is sodium, but this is where that precision GPS analogy really proves its worth because the guidelines give us two hard numbers.
And the distinction between them is vital.
You've got the standard limit, and then you have the optimal, really the therapeutic goal.
That's right. The standard daily limit for most people needing blood pressure control is 2,300 milligrams. But, and the sources are crystal clear on this, the optimal goal, the target you need for maximum blood pressure reduction, is significantly lower. It's 1,500 milligrams per day.
1,500. I mean, that is a brutal target for the average person.
It's incredibly difficult.
Especially when you think that a lot of restaurant meals can hit that number in just one sitting.
Oh, easily.
Huh?
The biggest hurdle the guidelines are implicitly addressing is the modern food supply.
How so?
Well, 1,500 milligrams is about 2/3 of a teaspoon of salt. That's it.
Wow.
If you aren't cooking from scratch with whole, unprocessed foods, hitting that number is, well, it's nearly impossible. The guidelines are basically telling us to get out of the center aisles of the grocery store.
That makes perfect sense. But DAH isn't just about taking things away, which I think is much more encouraging.
No, it's about leveraging positive inputs.
So if sodium is what we restrict, what specific nutrients are we actively adding back in to boost vascular health, to improve that vascular tone?
We're talking about the mineral trio: potassium, magnesium, and calcium.
And potassium is the real star here.
Absolutely. Its role is to counterbalance sodium and promote vasodilation. It essentially tells your blood vessel walls to relax and widen.
Which directly drops your blood pressure.
Exactly.
And the targets for potassium, they are really ambitious.
They are. The recommended intake is anywhere from 3,500 to 5,000 milligrams a day.
To put that in context for you, a standard banana has, about 400 milligrams?
Right. So to hit that optimal 5,000 milligram target, you need to eat enormous quantities of fruits, vegetables, beans, and certain dairy products every single day.
Which brings us to the food quantities. The sources actually spell out what it takes to hit those mineral targets, right?
Precisely. To fulfill the DISH mandate, you're looking at 4 to 5 servings of fruits, another 4 to 5 of vegetables, and 2 to 3 servings of low-fat dairy every day.
It totally shifts the focus. It's not just about restricting salt.
Not at all. It's about using these massive quantities of nutrient-dense foods to actively, remodel and improve the health and flexibility of your blood vessels.
That reframes it from a punishment to an active prescription. Okay, so if blood pressure is about sodium and minerals, metabolic health, diabetes, or DM introduces new challenges.
Primarily around carbohydrates.
Right.
Diabetes care has become much more flexible. It acknowledges that, one size does not fit all for blood sugar control.
So while monitoring total carb intake is still essential.
It's the cornerstone, yeah. But the guidelines now explicitly recognize that highly personalized, even restrictive plans like low or very low carb diets are viable options.
Especially for patients wanting to reduce their reliance on medication.
Exactly. That flexibility is the key insight.
But I was fascinated by this intersection point in the sources. The modified DASH or DASH H4D,
Yes, for patients navigating both high blood pressure and diabetes,
a dual diagnosis.
which requires a very tailored map. You need the mineral benefits of DHH for the vessels, but the standard carb load from DHH might be too high for good blood sugar control.
So the modified DSH plan makes two key adjustments.
Yes, it lowers the total carbohydrate content, and at the same time, it increases the consumption of unsaturated fats.
And why that specific fat adjustment?
It's a cardiovascular protection strategy. We're trying to protect the heart while managing blood sugar. The guidelines cite specific examples like avocado and nuts.
Okay.
They provide healthy monounsaturated fats and fiber, which helps slow down glucose absorption, balancing blood sugar while delivering heart-healthy lipids. It's a really elegant solution.
And for those with overweight or obesity, the guidelines give us this incredibly precise weight loss waypoint. It's not just lose some weight.
No, it's highly specific because the research is a target of 5 to 7% weight loss is recommended.
5 to 7%.
That range is singled out because studies show that even this modest, achievable percentage improves insulin sensitivity profoundly.
So you don't need to hit some abstract goal weight.
Not at all. Losing, say, 15 pounds on a 200-pound frame can dramatically improve how your body processes sugar.
Knowing that a specific achievable goal has such a guaranteed impact that makes the effort feel much more worthwhile.
It does.
Now let's tackle the third pathway, coronary artery disease, or CAD. Here, the focus shifts again, right? It's more about reducing inflammation and managing lipids.
Yes, through patterns like the Mediterranean or the AHA diets. When you're dealing with CAD risk, the conversation moves to the quality of fat, not just the quantity.
So the guidelines prioritize unsaturated fats.
Liquid vegetable oils like olive and canola and fat from seafood, while putting a strict ceiling on saturated fat.
Which is less than 10% of total daily calories.
That's the hard limit.
And crucially, the data shows the benefit isn't just cutting the saturated fat, it's about what you replace it with.
Precisely. If you cut saturated fat and replace it with, say, simple carbs or sugar, you see no benefit. The cardioprotection comes from actively replacing it with those unsaturated fats that reduce inflammation.
That replacement strategy is the true waypoint.
It is.
This focus on quality leads us to a huge update in the 2026 federal guidance, a warning about specific food categories.
This is a major policy shift. The new guidance specifically urges avoiding highly processed and ultra-processed foods.
Why now?
The sources are now directly linking these chemically altered products to increased cardiovascular risk and overall mortality. It's not just about hidden salt or sugar anymore.
It's a warning about the food matrix itself.
Yes. How far that food has been taken from its original whole state.
A systemic warning, then. And with that comes a clear protein shift in the CAD guidelines. What are we supposed to prioritize?
The emphasis is definitely shifting away from heavy consumption of red or processed meats, prioritizing plant-based proteins, legumes, nuts, seeds, and lean meats. This serves a dual purpose. You maximize fiber and nutrients from plants while reducing the inflammatory load from processed animal products.
This all takes us right into the biggest policy updates from HHS and the USDA, the new 2026 federal guidelines that signal these major shifts for the whole country.
All under that food is medicine theme.
Great. And this is where we find some of the most surprising details, things that, fly in the face of what a lot of us were taught in the 90s.
Take protein targets. There's an increased focus on high-quality protein, aiming for 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight.
That's a robust recommendation.
It is. It recognizes protein's role not just in muscle, but in satiety and overall metabolic health.
But the section on whole food fats is what made me stop reading.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
We've just been talking about unsaturated fats like olive oil for heart health, but the federal guidance specifically mentions whole food fats like eggs and tallow.
Tallow. Yes. That inclusion is a huge signal of the nuance in nutritional science now.
I mean, tallow is rendered animal fat. It was demonized for decades.
It was, simply because it contains saturated fat. But modern evidence recognizes that the context of the fat matters. The nutritional structure of whole foods like eggs or traditionally prepared tallow is very different from the processed hydrogenated fats in ultra-processed junk.
So its presence here is basically saying, don't fear a traditional food just because of its saturated fat profile, as long as the rest of the diet is high quality.
Exactly. It signals a move away from that reductive thinking treating a single nutrient like saturated fat as a universal enemy. The focus is on the whole food and avoiding the chemically altered fats that truly drive risk.
That is a massive step forward and a critical clarification for you, the listener, to take away.
It is.
Okay, now let's move to the crackdown on added sugars. A critical waypoint, especially for families.
This is maybe the most restrictive and impactful advice for children. The 2026 guidelines introduce a no amount recommendation for added sugars in kids under 10.
No amount, so zero.
Zero. Not a single gram is considered safe or beneficial. For adults, the advice is to limit added sugar so that no single meal has more than 10 grams.
10 grams. That is virtually nothing in a modern grocery store. A single flavored yogurt can blow right past that.
It can. This forces total vigilance. You have to read the nutrition facts on everything because 10 grams is gone in an instant. The intent is to eliminate that passive sugar consumption that sneaks into everything.
It moves the conversation from vague daily allowances to concrete meal-by-meal damage control.
It does.
We also see reinforcement of the fiber priority.
Yes, the unsung metabolic hero. It's paramount for gut microbiome support, which we now know plays a huge role in everything from mood to metabolic function.
And the guidelines are specific here, too.
Reinforcing fiber-rich whole grains, recommending 2 to 4 servings daily. This loops right back into managing diabetes and reducing cardiovascular risk. It's the infrastructure of a healthy diet.
It's fascinating to see how far these guidelines have come. The sources reminded us federal dietary advice has been around for over 100 years.
And the formal dietary guidelines for Americans have been issued every 5 years since 1980.
But this 2026 version, it really feels like the moment where decades of learning finally synthesized into true precision guidance.
It does. It synthesizes complex, sometimes conflicting research into incredibly actionable GPS coordinates for managing disease and promoting health.
So, to summarize the mission we started with, we've navigated the 2026 nutritional GPS.
I think so.
We have the precision metrics. Optimal sodium is 1,500 milligrams. Of gold potassium is up to 5,000. We've seen the power of that 5 to 7% weight loss target. And we covered the modern focus on fat quality with that targeted warning against ultra-processed foods and, surprisingly, the positive inclusion of traditional whole food fats like tallow.
So what does this all mean for you? The crucial takeaway is, I think, empowerment.
Right.
These 2026 guidelines give you detailed, personalized maps, not just broad generalizations. You now have specific numbers and strategies that let you engage critically with your food choices.
And as a final provocative thought for you to mull over, our discussion centered on heart health and the importance of unsaturated oils like olive and canola.
Right.
Yet, the 2026 federal updates also specifically highlighted traditional whole food fats like eggs and tallow.
They did.
So if dietary advice has been around for over 100 years, and so much of that advice focused on removing saturated fat, what is it about the specific inclusion of traditional non-processed fats like tallow in these newest guidelines that marks the biggest, maybe the most philosophical evolution in our scientific understanding of what healthy eating truly is?
That is the question.
We'll leave that with you until the next deep dive.